Romans 8:8 KJV. It says, "So then, they that are in the flesh cannot please God." The devil has used pornography to place you in bondage for many, many years. Years of you consuming that filth, consuming that content, that tricks, that confuses your brain, right? It tricks and confuses your brain into thinking that you are experiencing intimacy when you are not. Okay? When you are watching that content, you are deceiving your brain into thinking that you are the one that's having sex with the woman you are watching. And that's not happening. You're living vicariously through your phone screen, your computer screen. Right? So now so now all that pleasure and all that lust that you've been feeding your mind, feeding your spirit, feeding your eyes, it has deceived you. It has destroyed your life. And you may think that watching a couple of exotic videos is not going to be much of an issue. Maybe in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to have, consequences. It's going to have long-term effects on your brain. And even you connecting with a woman, connecting with everyday people. When you make that your whole life, right? And you waste your time and you waste your energy on that filth, you're going to be experiencing some very dark days. Your life is going to look very gloomy. It's going to look clouded. You're not going to be able to focus on anything. You will not have the energy that you need to execute your plan, execute your goals, execute the calling that the Most High has for you. You're not going to have the energy to do anything to work out, to gain new life experiences, because you have used all of your dopamine to get pleasure from pornography all this time. You'd be surprised, man. You'd be very surprised to know how much dopamine is being deposited out of your brain. There's a lots of amounts of dopamine being used to fulfill your lust, to get you that pleasure, right? To get that artificial reward. It's not a real reward. It's an artificial reward. It's a fake reward. That fake reward of you, ejaculating, right? Busting a nut. That's not a real reward. You are literally telling your brain it takes very little effort to gain a reward. A reward that ultimately brings you nowhere in life. A reward that accomplishes nothing in the end run. It accomplishes nothing. And it only takes you a little bit of effort to get that reward. And then that's what you are training your brain to do. You are training your brain to only put in the much, minimal effort as possible to get a easy reward. So that takes you away from ever having to put in hard work to see through a goal, an end result, right? You're not conditioned to see the end result through hard work, through time and effort. you know, that what it takes to get to that end result, to accomplish that goal. Your brain doesn't understand the concept of hard work. Because all these years of consuming, the corn, you trained your brain to only put in a little bit of work, right? A little bit of effort to get an easy reward. And that's why you don't have the motivation. You don't have the drive to, accomplish your goals, right? To see your goals through and to execute your plans for your life. You don't have that motivation or that drive. That drive is pretty much gone. It's pretty much non-existent. That motivation is diminished because of what you've been watching all these years, because of that corn addiction. The only way you're going to get that motivation back, that drive back, in part of your brain functioning, is if you quit corn once and for all. You stop watching it, you don't entertain it, you block it from your phone, your computer, whatever. You block access to it. That is how you're going to get your focus, your concentration, the motivation, and in your drive back. That is how your brain's functioning will start to, operate normally, right? Your brain will be back to normal. And that's where you want to have your brain. You want your brain to be working normally. You don't want your brain to be fuzzy, to be clouded, to be foggy. Because when your brain system is not working properly, you are not going to work properly. You're not going to be at your best. You got to think of your brain as a computer. Your computer is filled with all those viruses. Now you have to kill those viruses. In order for the computer to work again, to work properly, you got to kill off all those viruses that's causing all these malfunctions, that's causing your computer to not work. It's slow, it's not performing well. You know what I'm saying? Think of your brain like a computer. And in order for your brain to operate the same normally again and to perform well, you gotta turn off the corn, man. You gotta turn it off. Because that is a virus in your brain that you have to kill. You know what I'm saying? You have to destroy that. Just like how corn destroyed your life, the best parts, the best years of your life, you have to destroy those viruses, man, that are plaguing your brain. So, this is a message that you need to listen to, and that this is your sign to break your corn addiction. I have suffered through the same addiction. I've been through those pitfalls. I've been stuck in that bondage for a long time, for many, many years. It's time for you to break the bondage. It's time for you to set yourself free. Allow God to deliver you from that bondage. It's going to take some work. It's going to take time. Mainly by fasting, praying your heart out. I'm not just talking about one little prayer and then you go back to doing the same thing over and over again. No, you got to stick with the praying. You got to really increase your prayer life and have intense prayer sessions, right? You got to put those blockers on your phone. You got to get yourself out of environments that is only causing these triggers in your brain that's going to lead you into a relapse, right? And you don't want that to happen. So that being said, thank you all for watching. Hopefully this video helped anybody that is struggling with this addiction. This is a retention lifestyle. Thank you all for watching, and I'm out. Peace. John chapter 1, 2 through 16, KJV. It says, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world.